America is still reeling from the fuel crisis. Disco is everywhere. And then, on the silver screen, comes a black and gold missile with a screaming chicken on the hood. The Pontiac Trans Am, as driven in Smokey and the Bandit, didn't just steal scenes. It stole hearts, garage space, and an entire generation's idea of cool. But beneath the polished Hollywood myth lies a tangled story of oddities, accidents, and hidden truths. Today, we're cracking open the T-top roof to expose 20 weird facts you didn't know about the 1977 Pontiac Trans Am. And wait till you hear why number 1 almost never made it to production. The 77 Trans Am wasn't just a car. It was an icon born of loopholes, last-minute fixes, and movie magic that elevated a mid-level muscle car into legend. Its mix of outlaw swagger and Detroit engineering made it one of the most recognizable vehicles in history. We're about to count down the strangest, funniest, and most unbelievable details behind it. And if you love finding the hidden side of automotive legends, make sure to hit like and subscribe. You won't want to miss what's coming down the road next. Number 20. The wrong year car made famous. Everyone remembers Burt Reynolds blasting across the South in a 1977 Trans Am. But here's the kicker. The cars in Smokey and the Bandit were actually 1976 models, dressed up to look like 1970s. Why? Because the 77 version wasn't ready in time for filming. Pontiac rushed out modified 76s with updated noses and headlights to pass as the latest release. If you look closely, you can still spot leftover trim cues from the earlier year, like single rectangular headlights instead of the quad-stacked ones. Collectors today prize real 70s, but smile knowingly when fans confuse them with movie replicas. And that's not all. The production shortage only deepened the legend. Number 19. The engine moviegoers never heard. Audiences thought Burt's car had Pontiac's baddest mill, the 6.6-liter 400 cubic inch V8. But the twist? Many Trans Ams sold in California and high-altitude states actually came with Oldsmobile's 403 cubic inch V8 due to emissions. Pontiac insiders still debate whether Bandit's stunt cars secretly ran Olds engines for reliability. Period records suggest some of the movie cars were so beaten by stunts that multiple power plants were swapped in. For collectors, a quick way to spot the difference: Pontiac 400 blocks carry a PWH or X7 code near the distributor, while Olds engines stamp K or G codes by the oil filler. Number 18. The Hoodbird almost got axed. The screaming chicken wasn't universally loved. Pontiac execs in the early 70s thought the giant decal was gaudy and would cheapen the brand. Legend has it, GM Brass nearly cancelled the Hoodbird option in 1976, calling it clown paint. But here's the kicker. Customers begged for it, ordering the RPOWWW7 decal package in droves. By 1977, the oversized hood Bird became a $55 option, and sales numbers proved executives wrong. Today, an original Hoodbird car with factory-applied decal, look for edges baked under clear coat, fetches thousands more than Bird Delete cars. And yet, some purists still claim it's tacky. Number 17. The stunt cars were destroyed. You'd think a Hollywood studio would preserve a star car like Reynolds' Trans Am, but in truth, the stunt fleet was trashed. Universal reportedly acquired 4 cars from Pontiac, and every single one was battered, jumped, or blown apart during filming. By the final chase scenes, one car was held together with hidden cables just long enough to finish the jump shots. None of the screen-used cars survived intact. Collectors desperate for a Bandit car today hunt replicas, with values skyrocketing for clean black and gold T-top editions. And if you think losing the hero cars was bad, wait till you hear number 16. Number 16. T-top fragility became a lawsuit magnet. The removable T-top roof looked flashy, but it had problems. Early 1977 Hearst hatch roofs leaked like sieves and cracked under stress. Pontiac quietly shifted mid-year to stronger Fisher body T-tops, but not before thousands of customers complained. Rumor has it, GM legal teams faced lawsuits from owners angry their $7,000 muscle car turned into a rain trap. Today, the quickest collector's tip? Look for narrower glass panels. That's the early Hearst system. Wider glass belongs to Fisher. Hearst-equipped Bandit cars are rarer, but many restorers avoid them because of leak history. And next up, number 15 shows how Hollywood bent the rules even more. Number 15. Jackie Gleason improvised the sheriff's car chase. The unforgettable foil to Burt Reynolds wasn't just the Bandit. It was Jackie Gleason's Sheriff Buford T. Justice. Here's the kicker. Many of Gleason's lines were completely improvised. That meant the chase scenes weren't just scripted chaos. They were organic mayhem. Pontiac stunt drivers had to adapt mid-scene when Gleason swerved off course or added wild dialogue. The cars wrecked during those unscripted moments. Real damage. Universal bought surplus Pontiacs, and Gleason's character accidentally turned several into junkyard fodder. For collectors, those police package Pontiac Le Mans sedans used in filming are nearly extinct. Spotting one means checking for Special Order 9C1 suspension parts. And the twist? Gleason's improvisations made the Trans Am's escapes even more legendary on screen. Number 14. The Snowman's rig was just as famous. While Burt and the Trans Am got the spotlight, Jerry Reed's semi-truck, nicknamed Snowman's rig, was nearly as iconic. The rig was a Kenworth W900, painted white with custom graphics. And here's the twist. Pontiac supplied the Trans Ams, but the Kenworth was Reed's personal choice, one he insisted matched the character's working-class grit. The truck became a moving billboard for Pontiac, towing trailers with spare parts for the stunt cars. Collectors today say that if you want a full Bandit setup, you can't stop at the Trans Am. You need a Kenworth W900 too. But even more shocking, fans discovered Pontiac didn't sell any Bandit-inspired trucks at the time. Dealers later cashed in with unofficial Kenworth clones. And number 13? It's about an option that barely survived. Number 13, the honeycomb wheels were not from '77. Sharp-eyed fans loved the honeycomb wheels often shown on promo posters. But here's the kicker. Those wheels weren't factory correct for the '77 Bandit. Pontiac had phased them out after 1976, moving instead to snowflake pattern aluminum wheels. Movie prop teams, however, mixed parts from leftover stock, giving the hero cars anachronistic shoes. It confused audiences and collectors alike. Pontiac snowflakes were lighter and more stylish, but the honeycomb's rubber-coated design looked beefier on camera. Spotter's tip. If you see a 1977 Trans Am on honeycombs, it's either a movie replica or an owner swap. Factory-correct 1970s should ride on snowflakes. And that's not all. Pontiac's own brochures contradicted the movie's look, fueling endless clone debates. Number 12. Smokey boosted sales by nearly 30,000 units. Before Smokey and the Bandit, the Trans Am was a respectable seller, moving roughly 68,000 units in 1976. But after Burt Reynolds hit theaters, Pontiac sales skyrocketed to nearly 93,000 Trans Ams in 1977 alone. Why? Because every teenager suddenly wanted the Outlaw's ride. Pontiac dealers couldn't keep black and gold SE, special edition, models in stock, often charging premiums. Some reports suggest buyers waited months, only to settle for plain white or red cars instead. Collectors today know the Y82 special edition cars, gold trim, gold wheels, black paint, are the crown jewels. Spot one by its gold dash bezel and WS4 Trans Am package code. And the twist? Burt Reynolds' mustache sold cars as much as Pontiac did. Number 11. Burt Reynolds never owned the movie car. Here's the kicker. Despite popular belief, Burt Reynolds didn't get to keep the Smokey and the Bandit Trans Am. Pontiac had promised him one, but paperwork delays and studio politics left him empty-handed. Instead, Reynolds later commissioned replica Bandit cars for his personal collection. Some were promotional giveaways tied to his later movies. At auction, anything connected to Reynolds, even replicas, sells for six figures. But the twist? Pontiac did give away Bandit Trans Ams to a few dealers and contest winners, which makes authentic provenance tough to prove. Collector's tip. Genuine Reynolds cars usually carry personalized documentation or custom plaques, not just black paint and a decal. Next up, number 10 reveals a part of the Trans Am that almost failed federal law. Number 10. The shaker hood almost got banned. The Trans Am's most recognizable feature, the shaker scoop sticking through the hood, was nearly outlawed. Federal regulators in the mid-1970s began cracking down on anything that might block a driver's view. Pontiac engineers argued the scoop sat low enough not to impede visibility. Here's the kicker. Later, functional scoops were often blocked off to satisfy emissions laws, turning them into cosmetic pieces. Collectors today check carefully. True functional 77 scoops have cutouts leading into the carburetor, while blocked-off ones are sealed. Pontiac quietly produced both during the year. The twist? California cars almost universally lost the functional shaker due to stricter smog laws. Without the shaker, would the Bandit have looked half as mean? Doubtful. Number 9. The black paint was a nightmare. That glossy starlight black finish looked sinister on screen, but spraying it was a painter's nightmare. Dust, scratches, or poor prep showed instantly, so Pontiac had to rework panels constantly. Even more shocking, the gold pinstriping was applied by hand at the Norwood, Ohio plant, a time-consuming process that slowed production. Dealers often charged premiums for black and gold special edition cars because the finish required extra attention. Spotter's tip. Original SE cars carry factory paint codes 19 for Starlight Black and 50U for gold trim, stamped on the cowl tag. Rumor has it some early 70s left the line with mismatched shades, corrected later by dealers. Here's the kicker. The movie's shine took hours of waxing before every camera shot. Number 8. Pontiac lied about horsepower numbers. By 1977, insurance companies punished muscle cars with big horsepower ratings. Pontiac's solution? They underrated their engines. Official numbers for the 6.6-liter Pontiac 400 V8 were around 200 horsepower, but period dyno tests showed closer to 240 to 250 horses, more than advertised. Why? Because lower numbers kept insurance premiums down and skirted tightening emissions laws. Even the Oldsmobile 403 versions posted deceptively tame ratings. Collectors today still debate the true output. Spotter's tip. Pontiac 400-equipped Bandits often feel noticeably quicker than their paperwork suggests. And here's the kicker. Those detuned numbers only added to the Bandit's outlaw mystique. It was a car that promised rebellion, even on the spec sheet. But wait until you see how Pontiac handled number 7. Number 7. The car nearly killed Pontiac dealers. The Bandit boom was so big that dealers couldn't meet demand. Here's the twist. Pontiac dealers who couldn't deliver black and gold SE cars faced angry buyers and refund requests. Some even lost long-term customers. GM tried rationing the SE package by allocating them to larger metro dealerships, leaving rural dealers empty-handed. Spotter's tip: check for Y82 special edition code on the build sheet or cowl tag. Many Bandit replicas lack it. Collectors pay huge premiums for documented SE cars because so many dealer clones flooded the EUS market. The real irony? Pontiac thought the SE package would be a low-volume trim. Instead, it saved the Firebird line from extinction. And number 6? That one reveals a dealer trick that borders on fraud. Number 6. Dealers created fake bandits. When Pontiac couldn't ship enough black and gold cars, some dealers took matters into their own hands. They repainted base Firebirds in black, slapped on decals, and sold them as bandits. Buyers thought they scored the real deal, but under the hood, many had weaker 305s or 350 instead of the 400. Here's the kicker. Decades later, collectors discovered these dealer bandits, sparking lawsuits over misrepresentation. Spotter's tip: factory SE cars feature gold-tinted dash bezels and VIN-correct engine codes. Fake bandits often lack those details. Even more shocking, some fakes now fetch big money themselves, simply because they represent an era of wild demand. And if you think that's wild, wait until number 5, where Hollywood nearly destroyed Pontiac's golden goose. Number 5. Universal nearly used a different car. Here's the kicker. Pontiac wasn't even the first choice for Smokey and the Bandit. Early drafts of the script called for a Dodge Challenger or even a Mustang Mach-1 as the Bandit's getaway car. But Universal struck a deal with Pontiac's marketing department, which offered Trans Ams for free in exchange for on-screen glory. Pontiac seized the chance, knowing muscle car sales were sliding in the late 70s. Imagine it, a Dodge Bandit instead of the Trans Am. Spotter's tip: studio memos show Pontiac provided cars through Southeast regional dealers, not directly from Detroit. Without that deal, the Trans Am might never have become a cultural icon. And here's the twist. Pontiac's gamble turned into one of Hollywood's best product placements ever. Number 4. Pontiac didn't expect a sales boom. Despite the movie deal, Pontiac brass doubted sales would rise much. They saw Smokey and the Bandit as a fun marketing stunt, not a sales driver. Then came the shock. Sales exploded. By 1978, Trans Am production more than doubled, topping 117,000 units. Pontiac had to scramble for suppliers to meet wheel, decal, and trim demand. Dealers marked up SE models by thousands, and buyers still lined up. Here's the twist. Pontiac hadn't even budgeted enough decals for the hoodbirds. Vendors had to triple output. Collectors today treasure 1977 to 78 Bandit cars because they represent a turning point where Hollywood and Detroit intersected. Without Smokey, Pontiac's Firebird line might have been cut short by corporate bean counters. Number 3. The real Bandit car vanished. Car fans often ask, where is the original Smokey and the Bandit Trans Am today? The answer is murky. Universal destroyed the stunt cars, and Burt Reynolds' promised car never arrived. Years later, Reynolds commissioned replicas, which sometimes get mislabeled as the real deal. One Bandit car now sits in the Museum of Movie Cars in Tennessee, but experts call it a tribute, not a screen-used example. Collector's tip: any car claiming to be a movie car should come with Universal paperwork or Pontiac build sheets. And here's the kicker. The lack of an authentic survivor only adds to the Bandit's mystique. The car we all know and love exists more in memory than metal. Number 2. Pontiac almost killed the Firebird in 1972. It's hard to believe, but 5 years before the Bandit Trans Am hit screens, Pontiac nearly axed the entire Firebird line. Sales were weak, emissions rules were tightening, and GM bean counters wanted to trim niche models. The Camaro survived thanks to Chevrolet's lobbying power, while Pontiac had to fight tooth and nail to keep its F-body alive. Here's the twist. If Pontiac had given in, there would have been no 77 Trans Am for Reynolds to drive. Collectors today often note how fragile fate was. The Bandit car owes its existence to last-minute executive saves in '72. Spotter's tip: early second-gen Firebirds carry unique cowl tags showing plant codes L for Van Nuys or N for Norwood. Number 1. The movie almost didn't happen, which means no Bandit car. Here's the big reveal. Smokey and the Bandit was almost never made. Universal initially gave director Hal Needham a budget so small he couldn't afford proper stunts or cars. Burt Reynolds himself helped secure Pontiac's sponsorship and convinced Universal to expand the budget. Without Reynolds' star power, the studio might have scrapped the film. And here's the kicker. No film meant no pop culture boom, no sales explosion, and likely no iconic black and gold SE flooding high school parking lots. That single Hollywood gamble turned the 1977 Trans Am into legend. Collectors today call it the Reynolds effect. Without him, the Firebird might have been a footnote, not a symbol of '70s rebellion. That's how close history came to losing the Bandit forever. The 1977 Pontiac Trans Am was never meant to be a savior. It was a mid-tier muscle car facing an era of gas shortages, insurance hikes, and fading horsepower. Yet, through movie magic, clever marketing, and sheer timing, it became immortal. Some of its quirks were accidents. Some were corporate gambles. Others, like fake dealer bandits or missing stunt cars, only added to the legend. But here's the truth. Myth and reality fused, and the Bandit Trans Am stands today as one of the most famous cars in American history. So which fact blew your mind? The missing original car, the fake dealer bandits, or the almost cancelled movie? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more hidden stories behind automotive legends.